We smoking now, baby. All right. Howdy, folks. This is Big Sam. Some of y'all might be wondering, what is this horrible abomination on my Mosin? This is in fact a Hurst shifter. Now, the follow-up question to that is, why has Big Sam put a Hurst shifter on a Mosin? And a follow-up question to that is going to be, why has Big Sam ruined a perfectly good Mosin sniper bolt? Because Mosin sniper bolts, as we know, are not really that cheap or easy to come by these days, especially with the sanctions against Russia and the fact that we're not really getting stuff from the Ukraine. Check out our previous video for more info on some of that stuff. But in fact, I think a lot of y'all will be very relieved to know that, in fact, I didn't actually destroy any Mosin sniper bolt in the making of this horrible abomination. All right, let me take this out of the rifle so you can get a closer look at it, and then we'll talk about it some. Let me set the rifle aside here for a second. Alrighty, so here is our Mosin Nagant Hurst shifter sniper bolt. And I'm going to put sniper in quotes because it's not really. Now, what happened was, a while back, I bought a parts kit for a sniper that somebody built. It wasn't a real sniper. And I bought that because, you know, it had the stock cut out and it came with a curved bolt and some other cool stuff. Okay. And that was actually to finish building that gun that you just saw. That one was actually an original, that's a real PU sniper, but it was imported to this country as a barreled action. Didn't have a stock or a trigger, sights, or anything else for that matter. Okay, so when I got this parts kit, it came with this really weird bolt, and it looked on the surface kind of like a normal sniper bolt. And in fact, if y'all have watched most or all of our videos, you may have seen this before. We did a video last year talking about secret ways to spot a fake Mosin sniper bolt. Now this one's pretty easy because real ones didn't have a Hurst shifter on them. But this one was a fake, and we kind of talked about why it was a fake. For one thing, right here, you can see there's a pin. Somebody pinned this. So you can see here, this kind of looks like it was not welded on properly for at a Russian factory. So that's sort of a bad sign right there if you're trying to find a real one. And it did have the little knob here at the bottom. And if you watch the video, I'll put a link to it in the description. You'll see how this originally looked with a knob. It didn't look quite right though. There was kind of a gap between the knob and the actual bolt handle itself. So I thought about that for a while and I said, that's a little bit weird. So I took a closer look at it, and actually here's how this went down. This is a really horrible bolt. This is pinned on here. That's not, I mean, it works, but it's not really amazing. It looks pretty horrible. And I think there was probably some epoxy or silver soldering in here as well. So somebody already did all that. And then the knob, I thought was threaded on, and maybe they put some thread locker on there. It was not threaded. In fact, someone had JB welded the knob to the bottom of this bolt. And then that was their fake reproduction sniper bolt. And hey, that works for some people. If that's what you got, make it work. And honestly, it didn't look that bad considering all the things they did to this. But I kind of looked at that and I said, well, how do we make this a little bit more interesting? So one of the things I did was measure the diameter of this handle that they used. Now, if you looked at an original Mosin Nagant PU sniper bolt handle, it's actually not going to be a uniform diameter. You're going to see welding marks, and it's kind of not going to be uniform. Really interesting. But this one's totally uniform, which is another great way to easily say, oh, this is really fake. This is actually 3/8 of an inch diameter. So I actually had this cut with a die for 3/8 by 16 pitch threads right here, as you can see. And then I got a Hurst shifter universal kit off of jegs.com. And it comes with all sorts of different thread pitches. And one of them that you can use is 3/8 by 16. So it just threads right on here. And we see we got this locking nut. And there's a little bit of a purple in there. I like purple. That's just cool, folks. And so yeah, that's our Hurst shifter. Now, you might think this weighs a ton, and it has a little bit of weight to it, but this is all machined aluminum, so, or as you folks over the pond say, aluminium. And it's actually not as heavy as you would think. I mean, you know, I don't even know if it weighs as much as the whole rest of the bolt does. It's not that bad. It adds a little bit of weight to it, but it doesn't add as much weight as it looks. And what's cool is it gives you a lot more leverage. And let's face it, who's ever put a Hurst shifter on a Mosin before? I don't really know. Hopefully nobody, because this is not really recommended. And again, you can't really do this to a normal bolt anyway, because it's going to be really hard to thread a real sniper bolt anyway, because the handle isn't going to be a uniform diameter. You'd have to go really, really tiny threads or something like that. Don't ruin a real sniper bolt. Basically, the moral of the story here is somebody had kind of already destroyed a bolt, and I kind of looked at it and said, how do we make this a little bit more fun? Because this is an important thing here on the channel. What we like to do is have fun with Mosins without destroying history. But if there's parts that someone has already butchered, essentially, and if we were to use them or modify them some more, it wouldn't really affect any of the history because it's already been hurt, right? That's the kind of things I'm really interested in. That's what we have here. So no Mosins were harmed in the making of this Hurst shifter. And, well, maybe this gives you all a little bit of inspiration into some of your own projects. I don't know. But if you like this, how about this as an advertising slogan? Put your Mosin into high gear with Big Sam's Mosin Nagant Hurst shifter. I like it. Now, if y'all aren't familiar with a Hurst shifter, generally you would find this on an American muscle car. You'd have a manual transmission, and we'd always like to put these, like in the 1970s, on every single car. Because, I mean, look at that. That's just manly. That's what I'm talking about. That's a man shifter right there. And, you know, shifting a Mosin's kind of the same thing. I mean, a Mosin is a man's gun, right? Unless you're a woman, then it's a woman's gun. But let me show you one other cool thing on this gun real quick. Oh, boy. All right, so some of y'all also might be asking about the weight balance of this rifle. Remember I said it's made out of aluminium. We are clear. So it doesn't really affect the weight balance that bad, but we're going to talk a little bit about the left to right weight balance of the gun. So it would be left to right, or your left to right, not my left to right. Now, this is something we don't talk about enough with PUs, and this is one of the drawbacks of PU snipers, because you have this big mount here, and it's all on the left side. All the weight's over here on the left side and up, right? The scope's mostly over the bore, but you have the mount and the base here all on the left side. So if you like set this rifle horizontally on something, it would kind of want to fall over to the left like that. Depending on what you set it on. But just to show you that this hasn't really set all the weight to the right now, I'm going to hold it up just with my hand like this so you can see it. Look at that. So it actually works a lot better than you'd think, folks. Just kind of balancing on my hand, it works. That's really horrible. So what we've done here is created something that's a novelty. We haven't really destroyed anything. We've modified something that was already modified. And it actually kind of works. I mean, this isn't really recommended. This isn't hugely practical, but if you're just enjoying having a good time, you're out, you know, shooting at a bench, and you want a bit of extra leverage, and you want people at the range to look at you and go, what on earth is that wretched abomination that is in front of me? This might be a good option for you. It wasn't that much money. The Hurst shifter kit's like $70. You just get one of those dies to cut the threads on one of these, and you're in business, folks. Now, one of these can be a little hard to get. I think, who is it, Crazy Ivan Tactical sells some aftermarket curved bolt handles. Again, you want an aftermarket one because you want a bolt handle with a uniform diameter if you're going to do something like this. But again, it's recommended that if you're gonna do this, do it on a bolt that someone has already modified. So that's just my 2 cents. But man, this is really cool, folks. I hope you guys like this. We're gonna go ahead and load up a few more rounds and hit some steel with them. Let's get to it. All right, I got another 5 rounds here. Let me get my ears on and make this baby sing. I tell you what, folks, it don't get much better than this. The sun's shining, it's a beautiful day, and we're out shooting a Mosin. Can't ask for much more than that. All right, 5 rounds. Let's see what she can do. Fire in the hole. Oh, baby, we got that big silhouette. That's what I'm talking about. I hope I don't hit y'all with the steel as it ejects. That would not be good. It's pretty hot. Oh, baby. Now, as y'all can see, this guy does have a little bit of a extractor problem. I do not like the geometry on this extractor. It needs to be adjusted, but we'll deal with that another day. Works good enough. Just gotta get a little elbow grease. And remember, this is a man's gun. One more. Oh, baby. Smell that. That is what I'm talking about, folks. It smells like, what's the word? Freedom. And that's something we should never take for granted, folks. Freedom. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. You got the freedom to do whatever you want with your Mosin. And while we like to respect history, it's also good to have fun, especially if we can do it without modifying permanently history. Remember, we didn't actually modify permanently any history here. Somebody already did that. We modified what they did. And all I have to do is take this bolt out, put the original sniper bolt back in here, and it's an original PU sniper again. Pretty cool, folks. So I hope y'all enjoyed the video. This is a pretty interesting gun, and I kind of like it. Let me know what y'all like to see next. If you guys like more Mosin Nagant content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that bell. Let me know if y'all have any prayer requests, and we'll see you next time.